The very first year that we did this, these people were walking by us, we were around on the other corner, and they'd stumble out after having had some drinks and having a good time. And they would always be like, "What are you guys doing, man? Why are you camping out? This is weird, like what's going on?" We're like, "Oh, record store day." Records? People still buy those? Yeah, they do. Oh, so which one are you looking for?
Traditionally, no one says what they want because they're afraid the people in front of them will get to it.
Strawberry shortcake. Yeah.
What are you here for?
Weezer.
And she only likes the colorful album, so basically anything Portugal the Man.
Record Store Day is my busiest day of the year. It's bigger than my Christmas. It's bigger than my Black Friday. It's all of those days rolled together. We're going to see more people in one day than we normally see in 2 months' time.
Hey, can you guys hear me? We have 3 stations. So the first station is A through G. The second station is halfway through the G's through P. The third is P to Z. And soundtracks are under the name of the movie. I know you're really all here for The Crow, and it's under C. So it's one title per customer, but as many titles as you want.
One of my friends brought me here a couple years ago, and I saw a couple albums that I knew that I liked, and then bought a couple of those, and then it just kind of went from there. I just love that it's kind of a big community that involves a lot of people. I really like that.
These are actually all my friends that I only see on Record Store Days. Like, there's faces back here that I recognize, and all these guys, same thing.
I don't even know this guy's name, but I see him every year.
I'm world famous.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the 5th one, and this is gonna be the biggest one, right? And what's the goal?
Wow.
Quick, authentic connections. Let's make friends. Okay, let's do it.
Welcome. We're going to go this direction. PR, to
Don't be afraid. Stand up for your sister. Gotta stop this charade.
I'm really excited because they said it's going like hotcakes. All right, here we go.
Let your heart be alive. Your strength can push us through.
It's really weird because even my parents and stuff like that are just like, "Why are you getting that stuff? You have all this stuff on your boat." I said, "I don't know, it's really cool."
We are a record family, absolutely. A very musical household.
I like this one because it has Minnie Mouse on it.
It reminds me of when I was little. Like waking up in the morning, hearing like a little scratch, and then some soulful music playing. And so it kind of takes me back to that vibe.
Pretty good whole thing.
You think?
It was a good record store day today.
I got Fleetwood Mac, Soccer Mommy, and Courtney Barnett.
We got a Gorillaz album, Courtney Barnett, and Weezer record she was after.
This was a used record. I've seen these guys 5 or 6 times. Roxy Music, Sublime. There's another Tangerine Dream. And then the one I really wanted.
Together we can find a better way. Rise up.
Vinyl, it's the only way to make sound solid, like a solid format, like to bring it into our dimension. Otherwise, it's just invisible vibrations in the air.
Breaking the seal, like opening the record for the first time and putting it on your turntable for the first time and dropping the needle on the record.
I love opening the Jethro Tull stand-up gatefold, which has the pop-up. That always makes me smile.
I really like that you can display a vinyl record. I like looking at the art. I like being able to touch it and hug it and hold it if I want to.
You have this physical, rather substantial thing you're holding. And that thing promises, a portal into a moment in time where your favorite band played this song.
Artists care about vinyl a lot. Many artists will say that that's the most important format with which I present my art.
We've always released our music on vinyl, and there was never any thought of doing it any differently, just because that's what we're into, and I think that's what the people who buy our music are into.
It elevates the totality of an album in a way that I think is kind of beautiful if you're in love with an album.
Look at this. It's so pretty. It's got massive artwork that's meant to be looked at. It's meant to be touched. And it smells good.
When I was in high school, I had a huge crush on a guy, and I boxed up some of my records, and I took a turntable over to his house, and I played him vinyl for the first time. And that's pretty powerful. That worked really well.
Every record can have its own unique sound depending on who has owned it, who's touched it, where it's been. That's really important to me.
Sometimes when I want to listen to vinyl just by myself, I just go right here and just dance.
You're listening to the whole album, not just one song that you like. You can't fast forward.
Boggles the mind. It's just not the same experience. I play records for people in here, and it's like it's the first time they've ever heard the record. It could be their favorite record.
I mean, that's probably the first thing humans ever did was tell stories. And while the way that we tell them has changed over millennia, the desire to do it has not. Personally, I like telling stories through records.
Before I met you, when I was living in Indianapolis, I got my first record player on my own. It was pretty cheap, but I got it because I was just at a point in my life where I was like, I want to do what I want to do. And I think I would like records. And I think that I would like certain things that I think I've been avoiding because I didn't want to be seen a certain way or looking like I was trying to hop onto some trend, especially a white people trend. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's not that there's anything wrong with being white. It's just that I'm not trying to be a black person that hops onto white people's trends. That's how you end up, you know, being a black white supremacist, which I'm not. So, a lot of these are new. Like this Mavis Staples is new. Kelly just got that, Only for the Lonely. My husband loves soul music, but please understand that when he talks about loving soul music, he's really talking about the music of like a middle-aged black divorcee in the late 90s. Like that's what he's listening to. We were both in the English department and we were writers. I think I kind of knew that Kelly was into older music after that because when we went on our first date and we went four-wheeling on our first date. He took me four-wheeling in the mud.
And she didn't know it was a date.
I didn't know it was a date. That is true. And we got in his truck and we were on our way back to campus from like this place he had taken me out to. And Brown Eyed Girl came on the radio. You know, like he's looking at the road like nothing's happening, but he slips his hand over and puts it on top of my hand. And I was both like rolling my eyes and completely charmed. Because I was like, I'm black, of course, I have brown eyes, but also like this is really cute and I love this song and I really like that he's listening to this song and that like he's playing this song right now.
Rolling your eyes and charmed is probably a common experience.
It's a common experience, rolling my eyes and being also completely charmed. Yeah.
Listen, there's something sacred about the whole thing. 12 by 12, 33 RPM. The visual idea of this thing spinning for 18 minutes. The idea that a needle, first off, it's a diamond. I mean, it's all the fucking, this is like some Zork shit. It's sacred, you know what I mean? Like, there's a diamond that's like bumping in between this canyon.
It's such a horrifyingly complex point of consternation to even think about a stupid little, you know, stylus moving through this groove. I mean, I'm learning new things every day, and I've been doing this for 18 years. It's actually happened that someone's walked in before, and because I'm getting to the point where I'm old enough now, and they're young enough now, so that someone walks in and says, "Oh, albums have music on them." You're like, "This is a music format? Wow." And he spent the entire time staring at the needle, touching the groove, and watching it move, and looking at the speakers, and going back and forth like it was some kind of alchemy.
This is like 100 years old. How is this possible?
It's magical. It's mind-blowing how the fuck it works.
So sound is vibration. Frequency is sound per second. And then music is a unique collection of frequencies. And that's just moving air. And that's what's beautiful about vinyl, is that it's taking that movement and making it a solid, tangible artifact. The way it works is sound is going to be sent to these two magnets. There's a sharp diamond stylus right here, and that's going to take the mechanical vibrations of the music and carve it into this blank disc. When I was first in a band, like around 17, and really getting a grasp of what it means to create things, just seeing an actual vinyl record and like holding it, it just made it like, if I really am proud of this thing I just put my heart and soul in, it only makes sense to put my money where my mouth is. So I started scouring the internet of like, how could I do this myself? Because I do everything myself. And that's why the record lathe became the most viable option for me. Ready to cut. Now it's etching the sound. It's magic, obviously.
It's so temperamental and difficult to get every step right, to write the songs, to have a functional band, to have a functional vision, to have a good engineer and a good studio, and then a good mastering engineer, and then a good lacquer cutter, and then a good plating person. Like Gary Salstrom is the really famous plating person at QRP. He fucking wrote me an email. I was like almost fainted. This guy's amazing.
Unlike compact discs, you're not opening a door and pushing a button to start a series of events on a computer. We have somebody handling the lacquers. We make a duplicate of that through a series of cleaning and sensitizing steps, silver it, put that in the plating tank, make a master. This is the mother made from that master. I listen to that, make sure the quality is what we want, make any repairs that might need to be done, and then we make a stamper that's gonna press the records. Stan here is unloading a stamper that's just been made from a mother. And later on, he'll separate those two parts, and the stamper will go out to the press room and press records. If everything's done right, that stamper is an exact mirror image of the mother. On a job board at school, I found a posting, and I started off just sanding stampers. I realized this is pretty cool. I can get free records, and this is the vinyl that's going to press the records. This is virgin vinyl that we get from a company, TPC. It's made in Thailand. The vinyl is heated up in stages, makes a puck. That puck will be moved in onto the center pin of the press, and that's going to compress into the biscuit. Records pressed between the dies. There's stampers mounted on each die. That's going to cut off the excess vinyl. And it comes out the front end. This is where they're allowed to cool, and everything's hand inspected. Two people in our QC department, one will be looking at the records and the other will be listening, identifying any potential problems. This is where we do all the listening. This is Jamie. He can look at defects, and he's checking centering. We want the record to be as concentric as possible. So it's really critical, and it's probably one of the toughest things that we have here to get right. And other than that, he's listening to it to make sure it's free of any non-fill ticks, pops, stains, scratches, things like that. I feel guilty sometimes because I get really stressed out about making records. And one of my best friends said there's no such thing as a vinyl emergency. And I try to remember that, but it's amazing how stressed out you can get.
Now, when we're talking about vinyl records, the process that we use is incredibly similar to the process that was used to make records in 1880.
For the first, maybe 70 plus years of recorded music, records, whether they're made from vinyl or from shellac, but the basic form, right, circular. I mean, that was pretty much the only format that existed.
Every record is made with the same care,
and to the same high-fidelity standards.
The 12-inch format succeeded because you can see it from across the street in a record store window.
When you talk about the LP era, what you're talking about is consumer culture welcoming in large groups of people who previously were not affluent enough to be targeted. It was very affordable, it sounded great, and you could have a sort of relatively cheap experience of urban affluence across all these demographic lines.
When people were moving to the suburbs, often the records and the record players were part of the culture that they were able to bring into their house. Records are a piece of art.
You are going on a ride on the diamond tip as it plunges down through a canyon of sound where music is made.
It's probably really not until the 1970s that things like cassettes and then 8-tracks, and then of course by the 1980s, the coming of the CD now provide competition for vinyl.
Philips announced the next best thing to live music, compact disc.
They were smaller. In theory, they sounded better.
Pure sound played by laser.
Digital is arguably a more perfect format. It has consistency, it potentially has a lower noise floor, a greater dynamic range.
I think the record industry in some way was saying, you don't want your records anymore to the general public. You have to have CDs.
Record sales begin to fall off a cliff. I mean, the high point, the zenith is around probably Thriller, right? Around 1983. And then everything begins to precipitously drop off from that point.
The long-playing album will only be 41 years old this year, and already it's headed for early retirement. Like drive-in movies and gas-guzzling cars, it's another casualty of progress.
Records, huge pain in the ass.
It's heavy.
My back is probably not in the best shape it could be because of vinyl records.
Every time I've moved, I've amassed more records than the previous time I moved. So every time it's more and more of a pain in the ass.
No, you tear my shit! Drives me nuts how easy it is to damage. How easy it is to warp, how easy it is to skip, how easy it is to break the spine, how easy it is as a cat owner to have a shelf full of records get wrecked in one fell swoop.
No. Too late.
I had it in crates, and whenever it would get warm, I would move them from room to room because I was like, if they warp, I'm done.
Vinyl wasn't perceived to have much value in 1990. People would bring in all their records, and on top of the pile would be their turntable. It's like, here you go. So we used to go to different cities across the East, and we would basically stand in a hotel room buying records for 10 days straight, box them all up, and ship them to California. It was a formula that worked right off the bat.
But there was this just glut of vinyl that had been dumped. Stores just full of records.
You could be buying these records that are worth so much now for, $5 or less.
Condition was always, iffy, but that was a especially good time to find records.
I always had a fascination with records. I've also played the drums since I was 9 years old. And so I was always in bands, interested in music. My parents loved music, and I loved working in record stores. It's all I've ever done my entire life since I got out of high school. We have 3 stores now, and each one of them would be considered the largest record store on the planet. We became a place for weirdo record geeks like myself to have a good job and create a community. It's a perfect job for me. I get to sleep in late, I get to wear my hair long, and just be myself.
The record shop in the pre-internet days, it was where you would go to find your crowd of people. It was where you would go to find out about music and records and buy concert tickets and maybe see a band play. That's just where anyone who was interested in all that kind of stuff was hanging out.
Going to a record store was part of my life. It was something I always did. I never imagined I wouldn't be doing that. So I was opening a record store in the 90s, and Dr. Dre was just about to drop Snoop. It was an interesting time. My musical experience was different than the older guys who'd opened record stores before me, and everybody's gonna put a little bit of themselves into their space. I think the typical Soundgarden employee is, people who truly love records and record stores. This is where they'd want to hang out. We don't care if you have a drink while you're working or you're high on weed. We don't really give a shit, It's not like we're school bus drivers here. It's a community of people who are very similar to their customers.
I feel like if you walk into my store and you can't find something you like, then I have somehow failed on my mission to be a record shop. I want the kid who walks in, if she's 8 or 9 years old, to find her favorite record, and as she develops her own musical taste over the next 10, 20 years, she can find everything that she likes here at the record shop.
I'd never seen anything like it in my life, and there were people standing in front of record bins going like this. So I just kind of saddled up to one of the record bins and I start flipping through and felt like, this was a world that I wanted to be in.
You basically are going to get turned on to things just by looking this way or that way, as opposed to having something fed to you by some logarithm.
There's a lot of records that only exist as records. So going into like a dusty record store, digging under the shelves into the other crates, and it's almost like being an archaeologist and digging out stuff.
I love digging in the crates. Unfortunately, I always wear a really nice shirt when I should be wearing a really grungy shirt to go dig in the crates.
I think fun is really the bottom line to it all. It's fun to go to stores, you bump into somebody you see what they're buying.
I go up the block here to Record City, maybe pop into my bar up there, Westbury Inn, have a beer. Yeah, after a beer, I definitely get more records.
My strategy is to just be comfortable and touch all the records in the store.
I'm a terrible browser. I'm like, anything could be in there. He's like, anything could be in there.
And often anything is.
For people who like to collect records, the thrill of what might be behind the door of that little shop, I've never been stunned to find an MP3.
Finding something that the day before you didn't even previously know existed. Like finding a South African pressing of the first Stooges album. To most people, that's going to seem entirely inconsequential. Like, oh, is it different music? Oh, no, it's the same master that was used at the Columbia Pittman pressing plant in the United States. Oh, is it a different cover? No, it's the same picture. Well, what's different about it? Well, they used a slightly different back cover orientation, and the center label is different. That's it? Yeah, that's it. That's the highlight of a month. That is really, really exciting.
Who are the most passionate weirdos? They're passionate weirdos is who they are. And by the way, I subscribe to that. I'm a member of the tribe.
Music had been a way of dealing with depression for me, a way of being less lonely as I'd kind of left my hometown very young and was moving around and very often didn't have anyone around me. I'm like poor and 18 years old, and what ended up happening is somebody who was a little older than me took me into their big demo room, sat me down, and played me a live David Bowie recording on this like $300,000 Lynn Dynaudio system, and absolutely wrecked my frame of reference for what good sound was. It was like, okay, well, I can have this emotional experience, this antidepressant experience, and I can have it be better? Sign me up.
I have a nice sound system at home. I have a very nice turntable. I keep my records clean. And when I'm listening to a record, I have to pay attention.
See, this is hi-fi, okay? High fidelity.
Audiophiles are the worst. They're the worst. Come on. They are passionate about all the wrong things about vinyl records. They prefer to complain than to just sit back and ignore that 0.01% of imperfection here. And I'm sure this will be used against me in a court of law, and I've just dug my own grave. I get as much.
I think the dominant image you see of record collectors in the media tends to be some version of the Simpsons comic store guy.
Someone has mixed an amazing Spider-Man in with the Peter Parker the Spectacular Spider-Man series. This will not stand.
I'm not saying that's completely false because I've met people that certainly fit that profile, but I think over the years, I've met a very, very diverse array of people who are into records. You don't necessarily see that reflected, though, in the depictions that we have of record collectors.
Nah, that one's not so great. This is the one I'd recommend. This track alone by Memphis Mini is worth about $500 if you own the original 78.
Wow.
It always has been kind of a boys' club kind of thing historically.
I think that's a stereotype, and I would beg to differ because I was buying vinyl when I was a teenager, and I'm not a young white male or a middle-aged white, or I wasn't, yeah.
The big struggle that the high-end audio industry has identified for itself is this evolving discussion that's about how to reach out to women, people of color, all sorts of youth, minority, all of those sort of sectors that they've never touched on before. And ironically, they continue to do the exact things that are not helpful in that pursuit, and that is to treat women like children and young people like they're idiots and people of color like criminals. If you want to change things, you have to just do it.
The fact that then I thought that vinyl belonged in a certain sense to that certain kind of white man was definitely encouraged by the images. Whenever anybody was talking about vinyl.
You guys are snobs.
No, we're not.
No, seriously, you're totally elitist. You feel like the unappreciated scholars, so you shit on the people who know less than you. No, which is everybody.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that when you go to a record store, the owner is going to be grumpy and he's going to sort of judge you. And I've certainly felt that way.
I've had more than one male cable technician walk in and look at my records and say, wow, whose records are these? If I had a penis, you would assume they were my records.
Do I feel good when someone's like, oh, cool, the DJ is a woman. That's cool, it's different. Like, dude, I'm trying to just do my job here. I don't need commentary. I might be really colorful, I might have weird records, but I've been doing this for 10 years and I know how to run a mixer, I know how to run a turntable, I know how to beat match, like I know these things, and I just, I'm just ready for people just to assume that I do.
During the low point of vinyl sales, the one community I think that still held onto it was really DJs. When everyone else decided to shift over to other formats, those particular DJs were always still going to stay loyal to vinyl.
The DJs, they demanded it. If the labels weren't going to do it, there were bootlegs coming out, and I think they were kind of forced into keeping it going through like the 90s. It's a medium that lends itself to creativity. Like, there's endless, crazy things you can do with vinyl.
The DJs, we have hip hop, we have punk, but in between there was a layer of kids that were influenced by hip hop, but wanted to do something new, placing samples together to make beats.
In the 2000s, digital DJing, and in particular vinyl emulation systems or digital vinyl systems like Serato, when these began to come online, a lot more DJs were happy to embrace that.
Control signals come in all different colors, whether they be vinyl and sizes. They also come in CD form, or you could put the file on a USB stick.
So much to my surprise, these people who had been DJs since the 1980s began to just liquidate their entire collections.
We've seen a decrease definitely in hip hop 12 inches and dance 12 inches over the years. I think that DJs now don't spin vinyl as much.
I had a tour in Japan a while back, and the promoter was like, hey, are you gonna bring vinyl? And I said, well, if I do, are they paying more? Because I have more baggage fees and stuff like that. He goes, no. I was like, okay, well, then why will I bring it,
Boom. That's iPod. I happen to have one right here in my pocket, matter of fact. There it is, right there.
It all came crashing down in in the Napster era.
And I just was like, no, why? It's here. Why change it?
It's the era of the MP3, and that delivers the coup de grace, if you will.
To have your whole music library with you at all times is a quantum leap in listening to music.
I think that music fans took out their anger or their distress with record labels on our shops. We were the natural go-to, people to express their dismay with pricing, with availability, and as a result, we were easy prey.
There is a lot of history here, and it's going to take a little while to liquidate it all. So you probably got a couple of months left to come and get a piece of this history for what it's worth.
I think there was 1 year where I didn't even release anything on vinyl as a label. And I was thinking like...
And we didn't sell enough of it to make it worth manufacturing, 500 of them in order to sell 50.
A lot of record pressing plants went out of business.
Music was always really important to me, but my career was in business. In the mid-2000s, I kind of reached a point where I decided I wanted to find something that was kind of a smaller, more niche-like business where I could be more hands-on involved.
And this is where it all began. That was my old desk.
I wasn't looking for a vinyl record manufacturer. It never occurred to me that I might find one of those, but this business had existed since 1949. I knew enough about music and I had enough beliefs that vinyl's not going to go away. I thought it could be something where it would be a good, stable investment. I could spend time on it that would be emotionally meaningful, and I thought I could add value to the business.
Some of this is lit. There's our old break room.
So I bought the company in 2007 and thought it was going to be stable and require a little attention, but not a lot.
This is the Motown suite. This is where the Motown artists would celebrate their new record releases. And they needed a place to come because they couldn't get space in the segregated South back in the 60s. And everything is completely intact. And I'm sure if these walls could talk, there'd be some great stories.
A large part of what the company did when I bought it was they made 12-inch single records for DJs, promotional records. That's how the major labels would support a new artist.
Scattered throughout here, we had 3 press rooms. We had 7 presses in this little room, 6 presses going down there, and another 8 presses going back there. And we shoved an awful lot in this small little building.
Shortly after I bought the company, the labels decided to discontinue that practice of producing 12-inch single records. That had a devastating impact, and this small, stable business that I thought I had bought suddenly became a very challenged business. There's nothing that said it's going to come back, and it got worse before it got better.
2007 is sort of considered the bottom. That year, the market sold less than 1 million units. I think my wife and I were married. We were getting ready to move for the 3rd or 4th time, as you are when you're young and just married. And it was like, I don't have the space. I don't want to, I'm done. I got rid of all my records.
Back then, we were all on media stories for actually going out of business and our business is failing. And I was like, that's a horrible story to tell. We're like telling people we're not cool anymore, and that's all we have is being cool. So we held a conference for all the indie record stores called Noise in the Basement. And we were talking about how we can perhaps change the perceptions, just change the story. I said, hey, maybe we could do something called Record Store Day.
Yes, we're gonna throw a party for ourselves. That seems a little weird, but let's try it and see what happens. And if you throw a party, it's, will people show up to your party?
Vinyl was our only hope, and we just hoped somebody else would give a shit. We can get artists to contribute some tracks, some 7 inches, some things that are only exclusive to us.
The idea is they're limited. what format lends itself to that vinyl.
Check this out. This is Chuck D for Record Store Day.
It was like all the biggies. Metallica was our first record store day ambassadors. From there, it just continued to grow.
Of course, I'm no stranger to the title ambassador.
I now have the power to command you to attend Record Store Day.
I'm kind of blown away about what it is now.
We started it 6 years ago.
Right.
And we only had 30 artists participate. Now we have 350 artists participating. It's worldwide.
Record Store Day gave me and the employees who work here an opportunity to continue to work in an environment we love. You know, we're kind of cool again.
You know, no accounting for the human heart. It's a very strange machine. As you can see in the room we're sitting in, I haven't stopped then rebuying the records I got rid of, or just buying more records. So I was on the wagon, is what I'm saying. And now I'm drunk with vinyl.
It was just this gradual change, and you all of a sudden realize that there's more and more stores opening up. There's more and more online retailers that are carrying vinyl.
All sorts of independent entities continued to make records when the majors weren't.
And if you have clout as an artist, you're going to want to have this experience, not this experience.
I think that's when we started to see a younger demographic.
I think I was like 15 or 16 when my dad bought me like one of those Crosleys. Not the powder blue one, it was a different color, but and he bought me like the Postal Service Give Up record, which is kind of funny to me that that's my first record because it's like kind of ridiculous.
More attention has been paid in recent years to reaching an audience where the default setting is not white dudes of a certain age.
I definitely think this second generation of record fans has maybe destigmatized the idea that everyone that likes vinyl is this weird dude with a ponytail kind of hanging out listening to only vinyl.
When I first started and I would go to other people's houses, like their record player was something that only they could touch. And now you're starting to see that kind of break down.
And now that it's kind of everywhere and really easy to order and really easy to come across, I think more and more people are starting to listen to vinyl.
And you walk into a record store and you see families and little kids and men and women. It's literally not a bunch of old white guys like me.
People of all colors, all races. There's absolutely no way to tell when a person walks in the store what they're gonna buy.
As a kid, my parents didn't have a record player. I didn't have a turntable until I was out of college, really. And that's when I started devotedly collecting records. So I started going out and seeing DJs playing vinyl, and I thought, I want to do that. I have really good records. I have good taste. Why am I not seeing girls up there? Why don't I see myself up there? I knew that there were girls out there that wanted to learn how to DJ, they just didn't know how to start. So I wanted to create this platform for girls to get together, to talk about records, to Skillshare. And that's how Cholita Vinyl Club started.
I had never seen women DJ up there before, so I was like, if they could do it, then I could do it too.
We started with a couple of girls, 2 or 3 girls, including myself. And at the moment, we have about 55 girls in 7 different cities. It's more than just teaching each other how to DJ or talking about records. Girls that have never met each other met at Cholita Vinyl Club, and they're, you know, the best of friends now.
Everybody's got their own style and own flavor, and that's part of the club, you know.
We have each other's backs. It's an awesome sisterhood.
Being able to hold the music that you're about to put on is really cool. I didn't have a ton of physical music as a kid, and then I had none as iTunes became a bigger part of my life.
What happened in the late 90s, early 2000s is that music became very passive. It became very easy to listen to it through your iPod, through your device, through your computer, through your laptop.
There was this sense that music was becoming ever more ephemeral and ever more portable and ever more sort of on the wind. But at the same time, there were people who, I think in reaction to that, were also interested in having music that they could hold in their hands.
I like the ritual of putting a record on and sitting down.
I definitely like having the physical album in front of me, putting it on the turntable, and really having that experience of doing nothing else but listening to that record.
And then having to kind of pay attention and go back 20 minutes later and flip the side.
There are people who are drawn to the inconvenience. There are people who are drawn to inconvenience, period, because you feel like you're working for your art. And streaming strips that away in the name of convenience and access.
Now you just bark out a command to some box in the corner and it plays music for you.
Alexa, play rock music.
Rock music.
I love walking down my hallway at home and there's just a big wall of records and I can look at them and remember the memories associated with them, like where I got this or this record came from my parents.
If you catch the bug early on, it sticks with you and it's a way to go back to a happier, more innocent time.
It's like when you're young and you're discovering things for the first time. It's just so great.
It's kind of ironic because vinyl is a nostalgic thing, but I also think it's novel to me as someone who thinks of music as a digital item.
When we are buying something, we are defining ourselves, especially younger people. We're looking for ways to tell ourselves who we are.
I'm a guy who listens to Faith No More's The Real Thing. And if you're that guy, every time you open your record cabinet and you see The Real Thing, it's like that's the reflection of the person that you most idealize in yourself. And you get to take that out and have this, sacred event with it. And at the end of the day, you're listening to Faith No More's The Real Thing. You're just going about it the long way.
My attraction to vinyl has been a combination of good association from my childhood, and also I really like the art form of it, that you can display a vinyl record. This one is special to me because it's the very first album cover recreation that I did. Also, it has a Tribe Called Quest break in it. People ask me all the time how I got started to doing album cover recreations, and there's no real magical story to it. It's just that I saw this at my parents' house. My parents had, at the time, a huge orange tabby cat, and it just hit me like, oh, that'd be so funny. I could put the cat in as the lion, and anyway. It just started with that one, and I got such a huge reaction. People thought it was so funny. I was like, well, if you like that, I'm gonna keep going. I'll show you this and this and this. I feel like I'm spreading knowledge or spreading information about the record. I really pride myself on trying to write in the caption something about the circumstances under which that album was made. So who was the producer, who played bass, who played guitar, the photographer too. Like before this, I had no real way to demonstrate my enthusiasm for music because I'm not a musician. I tried to be a DJ for a couple years there, but I'm not good at it. I'm just a goofball. It's just a perfect way to showcase my collection. Pretty convincing, right?
We never really stopped doing vinyl record jackets. Did it come close to going away? It did. And then we saw it coming back probably, I would say about 12 years ago, and it's just slowly grown. One of the things I think that has done that is people started making them a little bit more special. Direct-to-board jackets, old-style jackets, 12-inch, 10-inch, 7-inch, box sets, and lots of specialty items as well.
What we're kind of known for is we do old-style jackets. And what the old-style jackets are is they're printed on paper, which is a little bit nicer to print on, and then they're mounted to a gatefold blank. They automatically get glue put on the back side of them, and then these blanks are hand-mounted onto the sheet. And the front actually gets turned over to the back side. Once that's done, you now have the front, what we call the cover and the liner side of the gatefold. And then now this is what we call the inside spread. So this is our smaller press. This is a 29-inch Heidelberg, 6-color with a coater. It prints around 8,000 sheets an hour.
Things are looking really good in our industry. Not only is there more work to be done, there's more really high-quality packaging to be done.
This is a flat sheet now, but when we die cut, fold and glue, this will be a gatefold jacket.
I think people started making them special to get people to buy vinyl instead of downloading. Before it was like a single record jacket, 4-color process, single record jacket. But now there's just so many special coatings and foil stamping and embossing and scented or textured coatings. Just whatever you could think up, we'll make it on a jacket. Customers will come to us with an idea, and 90% of the time, we'll make it happen no matter what it is.
Anytime you look at the mass introduction of a format, and it's always been this way, as it gets more and more accepted, then you start to say, okay, well, how can we squeeze more profit out of these things we're selling? So in the last throes of the 90s and the 2000s, the packaging gets pulled back, the record gets pulled back. It's a wonder any of them survived any length of time out in the wild because they were so thin and the jackets were so light.
But eventually, people have the great idea, like QRP, well, let's do this, but let's really do it. Let's make sure that the temperature of the biscuit is just right. Let's make sure the labels are always dead center. Let's make sure that we have remastered the hell out of this album. And that's where I think the maturity happened. The average audiophile who would come into our stereo shop was not asking for a music server or a CD player anymore. They were asking for a turntable.
The records are 180 gram, they're beautiful. The whole outlay of the jacket is gorgeous. It is a full sensory experience that is incredibly rewarding.
We always start with the vinyl package, and then the CD design will be based off of that.
Probably my favorite physical album cover is, it's one by the Format. It's called Dog Problems. And as you open the album, like different sections of dogs kind of pop out.
Probably one of the bigger things that we're known for is nice deluxe packaging. And you sit there and you read the liner notes, you look at all the great photos, and you kind of follow along the story of the music with the story in the book.
The more special you can make the vinyl, the more likely it is that people are gonna buy it. You wanna do limited special packaging or colored vinyl, don't tell anybody. But colored vinyl doesn't sound as good.
We try to anticipate, is there a novelty aspect that makes sense to bring into this? There's these little tricks and these little sneaks that you learn about, and so you can have the groove on the record start on the inside and play outward.
Liquid filled records and split color records, a lot of things that we have done, we've done together with the artist. Perhaps the strangest of all those requests, and one that we were willing to manufacture the components but actually not complete the assembly, was a blood-filled record for Wayne Coyne of the Flaming Lips.
In elementary school, we used to do these balloon launches where everyone in the school got a helium balloon, and attached to it was a postcard with your name on it, and you let them go. I remember some turning up in New Hampshire, New England area. Like, wow, that's hundreds of miles. That's so insane. So how can we do that with records?
So it's with great excitement that we release Jack White's Freedom at 21 on a flexi disc, only available via helium balloon launch.
And we got hundreds upon hundreds of helium balloons, and we just let them go.
Hope you can find one.
And they start showing up in people's yards. People start putting them on eBay. People are paying $4,000 for a flexi disc. That to us was really, really cool.
The toughest thing about opening a brand new record store is that there are already records at Walmart, and there are already records at Target, and there's loads of records at Amazon. So you really have to offer something unique. We try to have a very cool sort of bohemian vibe. sometimes feels like a temple where somebody can come in and receive, almost like a sacrament, receiving the music. That might be life-changing music or might have extremely intimate relationships with them.
Do you know anything about this one? It's got all kinds of signatures all over it, but was it anything? Something? Yeah.
This is a Dwight record. We got a collection from this guy.
Okay.
And
I just love the inside of the pictures and all that. That's
He wrote a lot of things on it.
Like, we've been open for about 6 months. We opened last October, so October 2018. We're really picky about condition, and we try to source more unusual stuff, usually European pressings, something that you would hear and you'd say, what's this? I need to have a copy of this. We call ourselves a mom and pop store. People come in, we tend to know people's names. If we don't, we'll ask you your name. I've had mothers bring their daughters, and I feel like I'm sort of a safe shop for them to come to. I try to be extremely nice and welcoming to everybody who comes into the shop. Hello. Don't mind us.
Okay.
Hey there.
In May of 2008, I was left with a company that had a lot of issues. And we set out to reposition the company to be in a place for the day when, lo and behold, commercial vinyl started to grow again.
All those independent labels and independent artists continue to make records in the dark ages. But you would not have a comeback without the majors being involved.
I didn't know that this was going to happen. It didn't play out at all like I thought it would, but fortunately, it came together and worked out okay.
Building 1 is where it starts here. We receive raw materials.
You need the records that millions of people want, not tens of thousands of people want.
So we've now entered building 2, which is where we actually manufacture the records.
You'll have tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of records pressed for that single title. And that makes a big difference at the manufacturing level. It's a bigger deal.
You've seen a generation that has discovered, hey, this thing exists out there. I love this artist, whether it's Taylor Swift or whether it's the Allman Brothers. Yes, I can stream it on my phone, but this thing is real.
There's nothing new under the sun, and everything that's old will become new again. I realized that's especially true about vinyl. When I started seeing portable record players available in places like Urban Outfitters, and they were in different colors, I was like, oh my God, it's become a trend.
Urban Outfitters is not a record store. We are a lifestyle store. When we began in the vinyl business, we were buying it more as a collectible piece or as a decorative piece. And I'll never forget when a record came and there was only one. And it was the weirdest thing being in the stores getting one record because you were like, well, A, where is this supposed to go? And B, who's gonna ever need vinyl?
I got this from Urban Outfitters, and I will have a full review on the actual record player itself on my blog.
As the industry has grown, we're seeing it also as a way to listen to your music on top of also being a collectible. One of our top selling artists is Billie Eilish. Just like her, I think what we service is that 17-year-old girl that's experiencing and getting to know how amazing it is to own vinyl.
Let's see what the pressing looks like. Oh my God, it is white.
One of the coolest moments of me ever buying music was when we released Britney Spears on vinyl. When that came out, there was just so much press about it and so many fans that were so excited that they were finally able to really own that album in a bigger way than just the CD format.
So this is what the babe looks like. She's a big girl.
Our consumer base is typically 18 to 26 years old, and so they don't have a lot of disposable income. And so we find it important to offer them that entry-level turntable, and Crosley's always been a great product for that price point.
Crosley's provided more turntables than anyone else has in the last 10 years. When we first started, we were mainly servicing people who grew up with vinyl and they just wanted to experience it again. We started selling Target in 2006, 2007, Urban Outfitters. Then we decided to expand outside of just retro and make it more fashion-based.
It introduced a whole new generation to vinyl. And a large percentage of these new listeners are female.
I was really debating getting the blue or the pink, but the blue in the end matched my room better.
All of the finishes are this light blue color, and my record player happens to also be a light blue. I wouldn't be surprised if the record player was kind of in the back of my head going, I would look so good in this apartment.
People are using our products as like an extension of their personality. So when you search hashtag Crosley on Instagram, you're gonna see a lot of Crosley shrines. There's the Crosley turntable, suitcase style, flipped open, cool piece of like mid-century modern furniture. There's twinkly lights, and like there's always succulents. Can't forget succulents. So many succulents. I don't know that like Gen Z necessarily thinks of it as like an old medium. My daughter doesn't even know what a CD is. But she has a turntable. She has a small vinyl collection of like 15 albums, mostly Disney. You know, I had to teach her, you know, here's the cueing lever, and like drop it manually, like always use this to drop it slowly, always hold the records like this. So like from a young age, she picked up on it super quick.
That's pretty much everything, kids. Have fun with collecting records.
She just thinks it's like it's always been here, or it's like this new cool thing, which it is a new cool thing.
Vinyl can really help you with parenting in that being able to talk about music, hear music, and tell a story about an album or a period of time, it gives you really nice inroads. And I think when you're physically connecting, when you're touching something, it forges more connection for you because you pause and you're talking to each other and you're listening to each other in a different way. Sunday vinyl is a family tradition. So I get up in the morning and I play whatever the week has been. And then at dinner time, I play a few records that are gonna take us into our next week. If it's a blues record, folk music, or a jazz record, I'm giving something to them. We have this day together and we have this time together, and it's our version of church.
My dad and we collect records together, and it's kind of like a father-son activity that we do. I think on this side is like opera. Maybe I think over here is like jazz and maybe some early stuff like 50s, like early 60s. And then in the middle, it's all this rock because we love rock. It's a good thing to discover like things that I didn't really live but other people lived. Vinyl's still around, but like typewriters aren't around anymore. Dialing phones where you dial stuff, those kind of died out. Like regular dancing, like ballroom dancing, like that really died out. This is usually where we put our new stuff. Like when we go to a record store or swap, we put the things here. David Bowie. Sometimes I'm in the middle of school and like everybody's singing this new pop song and I'm like, gosh, I feel old. Most of the time I'm like, this is the right kind of music. So where were the spiders? While the flies were to break out. At the record swap, a lot of the people there were like to my dad, wow, you did a really good job raising this kid. Like, he likes what we like, not this like new modern pop.
In the past, I would have probably been too self-conscious to even say what I'm into, because oh, you're just going to get ripped on for what you're looking for. Oh, you're just looking for garage records. Okay, whatever, little kid, you know. Tell me when you start liking psychedelic or something like that. That would be my impression of the old record show. But now it's way more inviting and convivial and very, very warming, I would say. There are still people who are exclusive about it, but they had to realize at some point it was either you be inclusive or you don't have anyone to sell to.
It's been really fun to grow up with the show. When I was 5 years old, I was running around here under the tables reading comic books. My dad started it in 1981, and I've sort of been helping out more and more the older I got.
I'm 45, so I've been doing this for 30 years, basically. So I've seen every permutation of every job you can have at the Austin Record Convention. Once I graduated high school, I started working at convention headquarters, and you know, we basically run it now.
Attention, we're about 15 minutes from general admission starting. And as you can see, there's a lot of people still in a line, and we've been open for 5 or 6 hours, so it's pretty incredible.
This is one of the biggest shows we've had in a long time. We have more dealers than we've had in a lot of years. I think it's going to be a great show for everybody.
I want the dealers to be able to make money and have a successful show, and I want the customers to come and be able to spend money and be happy with sort of what they're spending and what they got for it. Like, do you want to buy 10 $5 records or one $50 record?
Yes. And it's sealed. Thank you very much. And it is a DJ promo copy. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That's how you sell a $400 record.
We were told that it's the biggest record fair in the world. Big stuff. Good prices, nice people, nice city.
Nice city, yeah. Beautiful city.
You know, hardcore record collectors are still a core demographic, you know, and no matter what corner of the world they come from or what their background is, they have a lot in common with each other.
I spent enough time in Vietnam that I've earned the right to do just about what the heck I want to do. I paid like $3 grand for one just the other day, for one record.
I have been coming to the Austin Record Convention since 1985.
I'm a veteran, 30 years plus. Love it here, love it.
I see a lot of old faces every year at the Austin Record Convention, but we see a lot of new, younger kids. We see a lot of people in their 20s. We see a lot of parents bringing their little kids, which is awesome.
Andrea's first record was the new Casey Musgraves album. I'm hoping that she'll have some stuff to like look back on and like, you know, cherish like collector's items, things like that.
It's a generational thing now. There's more women involved, and they're bringing their children and their moms, which is great. I wholeheartedly endorse that.
I have a big time soft spot for younger people who are into it, especially kids, you know, and if somebody's a newbie, we absolutely love that.
We are new record people. We've been doing this for 6 months, and it has been absolutely phenomenal.
I didn't believe until I heard the difference, so.
But I think it's about how much fun vinyl is, how much fun it is to shop for, how much fun it is to like meet people who are into the things you're into.
I started collecting records when I was about 8 years old. Needless to say, 20,000 records later, it's a disease.
There's an endless world of records, and that's what's like so appealing to me. It's cool to be like accepted by that community and to be like, you know, a younger girl who sells records.
My daughter's here, and Nathan's daughter's here, and she could have gone to a sleepover, and she was like, no, I don't miss the record convention. And I'm like, okay, well, great, you're here with us.
You know, I don't always take the time to kind of ponder how beautiful it is, but it feels like a reunion in many ways. You have people who are actually all from different areas of life, different ages, different backgrounds, but when it comes to this thing, we're kind of mostly on the same page already.
This is a good one?
Yeah, let's see.
That's where I would go. I'll play it for you.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
This is the beauty of it for me, to talk to people and to do what we're doing now. Just talk about records, talk about music. Take a few minutes. It's like wine. You get the bouquet, you sip, you listen. The next thing you know, oh, what was that? Surprise.
For me, vinyl is like something that has been in my life since I was really small. And like, it's weird. I don't really think about this too much, but it's just been something that I've had around me and connected people forever.
You put that back in the sleeve. That's your album.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too, man.
I am worried that the music industry, the people at the big labels, are going to make a huge mistake again. The same way they did with CDs. They've got kids excited about it, and you go to buy a reissue record that 10 years ago was $11 or $12. It's now $30 to buy a new copy of a Beatle record or whatever.
Now, when I'm a college student, I have more expenses than just coffee on the weekends. If it gets up to the $30 price point, I definitely think more about it.
I do try to budget with each paycheck. I always go over budget, but I have good intentions.
What you have to look at is, by selling this piece of music, is the artist being compensated correctly? Are we actually making the margin that we need as a company to keep all of our lights on and keep the people employed? And is there enough margin left over for a record store or a retailer of any sort to be able to derive the margin they need? As long as you're accounting for those three things, what you price it at is appropriate.
There's so many costs that go into these things because it is sort of a bespoke artisan type thing that I think people might get angry about something, or why is it so expensive? And you know, it's because it costs a lot of money to make the things this way.
People take for granted that you must have paid nothing and you're charging too much for things. And that's just sort of a general view that a lot of customers have.
When you put in foil stamping and individual numbering, and it's 180 gram vinyl, and you actually did full analog mastering, like all of these things add cost into every single record that you make. And the margins have to stay the same. That means all the pricing has to go up.
In 1977, a $10 record would be $35 today. We are not charging more for records now.
But are the majors the horrible, evil people? Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're terrible and mean.
You make me feel like.
As more and more people started making vinyl again, including the major labels, you know, reissuing Beatles records, our timelines had to get way longer.
When it comes to, you know, a punk band in Berkeley that's trying to get their 7-inch out, and they're, you know, a year out of being able to do that because you have like 1 million, you know, Lego movie LPs that are like, whatever, no shade.
Everything is awesome.
But whatever.
There's always going to be a backlog at the plants that make the best records that take the longest time to make. A lot of times I'll get in conversations with people about, well, can you make those faster? I was like, well, no, because then you're outside the space-time continuum. It's like, this is a physics. It's like it takes a certain number of seconds to make a record.
I was in the studio, and I was like really busy because I was like doing tech work before the band started. And I was like, okay, I gotta call QRP and set up the order for my record coming out. So I Googled on my phone QRP. And I just hit the button, called them. And I was like, hey, my name is John Vanderslice. I've had a few orders with you in the past. I just wanted to see about lag time and maybe setting up an order. And so they were like, okay, let me put you on hold. So they put me on hold. They came back and they said, yeah, we see a few orders for you. Well, do you see my quantity for the last record, Dagger Beach? I think it was 2,000. Hold on, let me put you on hold. I was like, man, they don't seem to know anything about vinyl production. I'm asking them basic questions about like, scheduling and minimums and who does the plating and et cetera. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna call you back. It just got confusing. And then I hung up, and maybe a minute later, someone called me and it was a different person. And it was a guy who sounded like kind of car salesman-y, scammy. And he's like, hey, so I just wanted to clear up. So did you want to place an order? And I was like, who is this? They were like, you just called us. And I was like, why are you calling me? He's like, well, I was listening into the phone call. No shit. And that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my God. I looked at my phone. I was calling a scam company and they were pretending to be QRP. They knew what I was doing. They were lying to me and saying that they saw my orders. It was fucking crazy. It was amazing. This is in vinyl production. Think about this. Most of these motherfuckers don't even own a turntable. So scammers everywhere. This is like so typical.
The record boom definitely has messed up at some points the quality. For example, like off-center, meaning that the grooves Instead of the record needle playing and just kind of tracking like this, it goes woo, woo. You know. You know, a lot of people, I guess, really aren't playing them or opening them, or they're not that picky.
I despise buying a brand new record, putting it on the turntable, and having it be warped, defective, or otherwise made in a way that is not up to standards that I would expect. I'm not suggesting that somehow we're immune from that problem, but that's the thing that most upsets me. Sometimes even all the people that do the best work have problems.
It's hard to make a record. It's a manual process, and it relies on a lot of technology that's 100 years old or more.
In my previous role, I was the head of music app partnerships at Google, and simultaneously was managing bands with my sister. And one of the things I was seeing in my role as a band manager was how many young fans were asking for vinyl at the merch tables. So the more that this was happening, I was starting to order vinyl for my bands, and it was taking a quoted 4 to 6 months to get product when you need it quickly. So just as a thought experiment, I put together a business pitch deck. I'm just curious if someone would finance this. And I walked into the bank and I said, I'm looking for loan financing. And I walked out with a $500,000 commitment to start a factory. How we built the factory is meant to be different than what you can find at other plants. We came in as a new plant and said we're going to do it better and faster than any other plant. Well, it's almost sacrilegious to some people. But you think, what if we brought some more innovation to a space that really hadn't seen any in so long? You know, it's plastic, it's not great for the environment. And what I asked my team to do with me is to say, hey, these are the inefficiencies we're seeing. How can we employ, a different way of thinking that's not, oh, that's the way it's always been done? What it's resulted in is our records come off so clean. I've heard from other pressing plants that they'll throw up to 30% of records away. We're down to, on a good day, 0.5%.
The production of records is not real. It's not the best thing for the environment at all. I think on the flip side, we're simply not producing vinyl in the same amounts that we used to. So whatever the environmental impact would have been a generation ago, we are now at a fraction of that.
Vinyl is recyclable. You can recycle it and put it into future pressings. That is great.
So this is our vinyl recycling room. When you manufacture a record, you have excess vinyl. We regrind that and can use that, mixing it with virgin in subsequent generations of records.
We have devoted quite a bit of time to our energy systems to allow us to recapture and recycle what would be essentially exhaust to be more efficient and less wasteful.
It's, as someone who is concerned about the environment and tries to take strides to be not a litter bug, to recycle, to buy less plastic, to do stuff like that. Here's a wall of stuff that's going to take 40,000 years to degrade. We all like to think that these are going to be very important to generations after generations. This Shangri-La's record, somebody's going to want this in 2075, right?
The idea that records can last 70 years is fucking crazy. I mean, that's crazy. My goal is to make a record that sounds good enough that someone will listen to it for 20 years.
I have records that I've had since I was, 13. Do I have most other things that I've had since I was 13? No.
Lots of things I would happily not have. I'll turn off a lot more lights. I'll take way shorter showers. I'll take way fewer showers to keep my records.
You deal with these questions, and the best thing to do is put a record on really loud and just try to drown those thoughts out.
Detroit is known for making things, and that's what we're doing here at Third Man Pressing. A vinyl record pressing plant where people can come in the front door, look at vinyl, but then go in the back and see records being made only really helps, the music industry and Detroit really connect.
Part of the design and the vision from Jack was the heavy, bulky, ugly machinery that just kind of sits there has all been put behind walls, soundproofed, and just visually eliminated to have create an uncluttered look. This is kind of a whole different approach to making a product. So what Sam is doing is operating 2 machines right now. She's kind of working in tandem here. In an 8-hour shift, she can get anywhere from 1,100 to 1,300 records.
Our first year, we were around 250,000 pieces. The second year, around 700. And this year, we're gonna probably come in at 1 million plus.
Behind us is the board that has what is on press. We are here to press for everybody.
It's very important that, we support local bands, even though their orders may be smaller, but it's extremely important that they're able to take, 7-inch records or even a 12-inch to their shows.
We do recycle as much of the product as possible and grind it all down, and then you can make more records from it. Definitely don't want any of it going in a landfill.
My hope is that kids that visit here, dive in and they tell their friends about it, and then they go and visit their local record stores.
A lot of times we get people in on tours who have not experienced what vinyl sounds like. It can be an eye or, let's say, ear-opening experience for them to be able to experience that for the first time.
A record will give you goosebumps. If it's a good pressing, good quality, the sound of it can really do something to you physically.
Do I think vinyl sounds better? Better than what?
People are like, oh yeah, vinyl just sounds better. But they don't say it sounds better than.
In comparison to streaming, comparison to 8-tracks, comparison to tapes.
I think the whole analog sound is more pleasing to the ear.
There's something natural about like a needle vibrating in a groove and creating the sound versus the zeros and ones and everything.
If all you've ever done is listen to streaming through AirPods, you're not going to have a frame of reference to understand, like, wow, that's your favorite record? Ooh, let's play your favorite record for you on a record player.
Like, obviously it sounds better than listening to something on your laptop speakers, because your laptop speakers probably sound like shit. But does it sound better than listening to a CD in the car?
I just don't get that warmth like that out of CD that I get out of vinyl.
I mean, they're better than tapes, but are they better than the digital streaming?
The idea that a mass-produced cassette sounds worse than like a bullshit record is actually so offensive to me, because cassettes are hella cheap to make and they can sound better than shitty records. I find it worth pushing back on.
The way everything sounds varies depending on a lot of different variables.
How you're standing in relation to the speakers, what's on the walls, what's on the floor.
How well it was recorded, how well it was mastered.
Honestly, it depends on the music. I would never really think to listen to the new Ariana Grande on vinyl.
The idea that analog is a superior format to digital, or that digital is superior to analog, is basically horseshit.
If it doesn't actually sound better, I could really give a shit. Because I like to touch them and hold them and flip them and look at them and go through the liner notes and
sliding it out of the sleeve and getting out of the plastic and putting it in the MoFi sleeve and then putting it on the deck.
Lifting up the tone arm and putting it on and like trying to put it right on.
That experience is far and above scrolling through your playlist on your phone.
Does it sound great because that was a time in my life that it brings me back to? Or does it really sound that good?
I don't necessarily think that vinyl sounds better. I think it sounds better for me.
There are a lot of different ways that I could listen to a song. I keep listening to them on vinyl because of how it feels, not just how it sounds.
But to each their own.
This is the burning question in my life, because now you can get free service, you can get streaming service.
The reason vinyl sales increases and streaming popularity kind of coincide is because streaming allows discovery.
You literally can sample everything that is out there and then make your buying decisions based on that sampling.
If I really enjoy a band and I listen to their whole albums on streaming services, I will definitely make a point to buy the record because I do feel passionately enough about them that I want to support them in some other way.
Because you can get the music elsewhere, but you can't get the liner notes. You can't get the photo booklet.
You gotta have it.
This is a different experience that is weirdly complete harmony with streaming and also the complete opposite of streaming.
I think it's cool to be able to access so much different music and listen to such a diverse kind of array of sounds, but I don't know, I really like the sequencing of a record.
I kind of go back and forth. You know, if I'm on the subway, I'm obviously gonna listen to the Spotify version. But if I'm settled in my house for the night, I would probably reach for the vinyl.
I just moved to the place where we're here right now, and we live on top of a mountain here, and there's 2 switchbacks that make it so you can only have a certain size moving truck. I had to take out all of the records myself, and we had to be out of the house that we were in on moving day. And, it's about 13,000 records, So what you're talking about is boxes and boxes of dead weight. Every box that I was moving, I was coming face to face with my, habitual collecting demons in a way that no psychologist could have ever helped me out with. And I vowed to myself that, it was time to stop. So I have this whole thing now where if I get a record, I've got to get rid of 3. You want your collection to be easily accessible. You want every record you pull out to something that brings you total joy. A good night for me is when I wake up and there's a stack of records that are out of their sleeves and strewn around, and I realize that, man, last night I had a really good time, And you can't do that if you're going to treat them like some bizarre objects that are in museums and things like that. When you have a dog, you pet the dog. Look, when I have this dog, I pet this dog, and I love this dog like this. I don't just put her on a shelf and not worry about her. And, I feel the same about my records. Yeah.
My mom used to say, do you have enough records? Don't you have enough? When are you gonna have enough? And I said, Mom, you don't get it, Mom. There's never enough records. And I think 20 years later, I think she was right. We use these IKEA shelves that fit records perfectly. Every record collector knows them. A 5x5 of those, 25 cubes altogether. That's the ideal amount of records, right? It's enough for you to have enough to listen to and go a little deep, but you don't have too much. And that way, if you get more records, you could always make sure you get rid of enough. It always fits in there, right? It's kind of hard to do. I have so much personal history tied up in every single record. And so, I don't know, that's something I need to actually practice. I haven't got there yet, but one day.
My wife Bev, when she and I found this place, we had a conversation. We loved the place. We knew it was the place for us. It had a fireplace. We're like, that's really cool. And I said, I'm glad there's a storage space downstairs that comes with the apartment, because that way I'll have a place to put the vinyl. And she's like, we would never buy a place unless you could have your vinyl out. You're not gonna put the vinyl in storage. And so it was that just made, she's good peeps.
When my future wife first came to my place and she saw what was probably at least 4,000 to 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 records all packed in this place, she was like, wow. But, the cool thing was when we finally got a place, she was like, oh, see this wall right here? So you could put all your records right here. And I was like, man, I really lucked out.
When you really love music, but you can't go buy the music you love and own it, learning how to perform it well is sort of the replacement for it. My siblings and I, it was never just oh, come listen to this song and let's talk about it. Let's talk about why we like this song and, what we're hearing in the song. It was no, I'm Beyonce, you're Michelle, you're Kelly, let's go. You know what I mean? And all the words to the song and all the moves to the song. I grew up with music being mostly in the idea of performance. So I need to be able to have my space to do my performance and enjoy my music.
But those big performances have really been beneficial to me too, because it's kind of brought back this sense of play. It's not just another thing that I know, it's a thing I'm experiencing.
That's in the teaching each other thing. He taught me how to like be curious enough about music to not just think about how it makes me feel, but also think about where it came from and what's the history of this sound. But I get him to play.
She taught me how to dance again. She was like Kevin Bacon. I was like that whole town.
Basically.
Tell us what you think would be a happy next phase of life for your records after you're gone.
I'm not gonna cry, Kevin. I am 34 years old, so I don't think too hard about wills and things like where do my books go? Where does my, duvet cover go? But I do have this letter, like it's in a Google Doc that my parents are aware of and my boyfriend's aware of. So in the letter it says to my parents that just when I pass, let my boyfriend decide where my records go, because I trust that he'll make sure that they're not going to Goodwill, they're not going to a place where they won't be touched or enjoyed. I hope that my records will continue to be played. It's a funny thing to cry about objects and not people or creatures, but it is really sad to think of my collection being separated from each other, and that conversation that they all have together being broken. And so, yeah, I wish for my records just to go to a place where someone is gonna go, wow, that's a cool record, that's a cool cover, I wanna see what that's about. I hope that someone will discover them and have their own stories with them.
Love you, old friend.
It's so silly, they're records. It's so silly.
No, I'd say the same thing. I'm kidding. I just know what gets to ask the questions.
You and I have this in common, that we love vinyl. Were it not for music, we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? And so I really feel that it is something that can be passed on. Don't be intimidated. And don't let the music snobs or collectors make you feel like this isn't approachable, because it is. Even if it's, best of the 80s. Go on and get that best of the 80s. That might change your life.
I think we're seeing this pendulum swing back towards analog because we're gathering around together in a much more human way. And one of the things that I hope we learn from vinyl's resurgence is this want for human connection.
I want to share the things I love with people who will love them. That's really all that matters to me.
When I'm looking through my records, what I'm gonna play, I'm like, that one reminds me of Paul. That one reminds me of Daniel. That one reminds me of Amy. I have so many stories of friends because we have similar records.
I want them all to be loved and enjoyed and played. So they're so scratchy you can't play them anymore.
I mean, my records, all my music, is what I have absolute faith in. I only have faith in a couple of things to that degree. Music is one of them. Love is the other.
Oh no. I have never thought about this. I'm actually getting like teary-eyed. What do I want to happen to my records? Oh.
If it's my own children, that's great. Maybe they'll listen to it and they'll have memories of their mom. But if they don't like it, if they're not going to listen to them, if they're just going to sit in a box, then I'd rather they sell them to a record store and then have the records sort of disperse out, spread out sort of like ashes to other people to listen to.
Can I be buried with them? I don't know.
He asked me a lot what I'm gonna do with the records if he dies. That's a question that comes up about once a quarter.
Yeah.
And my answer changes, but essentially it's always like, Nick gets some special records, your dad gets some special records, and I keep everything else.
Having been someone who listened to my parents' vinyl collection, it would be really cool to be able to pass the Fessler family love for music down to the next generation.
As long as it goes somewhere where it'll be loved, that's all that matters.
When I'm not here anymore, my daughter has to have the records, and I want her to listen to them and know that I am always there. I am always with her.
I did think of that once, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to give them to my son. The reason why is because I want him to have his own experience with records and music.
A famous book collector said something along the lines of, when I die, my collection should be broken up. And people are, what are you talking about? It's amazing. He's like, the only way my collection was able to exist was by other great collections also being split up.
You got to pay it forward. So I hope that they end up in the used bins, the new arrivals bins at a high quality record store near you immediately after my demise.